I'm getting very good at this opening speech by now. It is WPG 2023. We are delighted to host once again. Thank you for doing last year. It was so good last year. You had to come back. So Tomi Yariv from Israel, thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure. Seriously.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this session, and I know the guys are going to really take a lot of value from it as well. So we're going to start with a group from Venezuela called Trio Catatumbo.
Sure.
I'll bring them on, and maybe they can tell you a little bit about themselves and the piece, because I know it's one of their own compositions as well. So
great.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Do you want to introduce yourselves and the piece?
Introduzcanse ustedes la pieza.
Bueno, este es el trío de percusión Catatumbo, somos miembros del ensamble de percusión Catatumbo. La obra es de mi autoría, es original para vibráfono y piano, y esta es su versión para vibráfono y dos marimbas, que decidimos montar y grabar exclusivamente para la audición del World Percussion Group.
So, hi, we are the Catatumbo Percussion Trio. We're part of a bigger ensemble that is the Catatumbo Ensemble. And this piece is composed originally by Jose, this guy. It was originally made for vibraphone and piano, but this is the arrangement for vibraphone and marimbas as well. And we decided to play it and record it exclusively for the World Percussion Group contest.
Nice. Why did you call it? What is the title meaning, and what did you call it? And what's some words about the piece? Nice to hear.
Okay. El título originalmente era como Tiempo de Ocio número 1. Era cuando la hice en un momento en el que estaba totalmente libre y fue como un mix de pequeños motivos de que me sobraron de otras piezas, digamos. Después, con el tiempo, cuando entendí que la obra quizás iba a ser algo un poco más serio y que empezó a volverse técnicamente mucho más compleja, le puse como nombre, a manera de chiste, inserto nombre acá. O sea, básicamente no tiene nombre, sino que es como la eterna espera de conseguirle uno adecuado. Y la obra en sí, yo la veo como un momento de ocio, tal cual. Es un momento de distensión, de componer para pasar el rato.
So originally I named this piece Free Time Number 1 because it was in a time that I had a lot of free time. Then progressively I realized that this piece was a little bit more serious and complicated in technique wise. So I decided to name it insert name here as a joke to the honor of the eternal weight of a name for the play. But I made it for little extracts from previous pieces that I had in my inventory.
Nice. Okay. So do you want to listen to it? Can we watch it?
Yep.
Great.
All right.
Yeah. Nice. Wow, bravi. Really, really nice. Okay. So first of all, really nice composition, and obviously you know that my first love about music is chamber music. I adore chamber music. For me personally, going on stage and playing as a soloist is the easiest job in the world. Just going on stage playing, but with other musicians, whether they are percussionists or other musicians in different instruments or vocalists, it teaches you so much about music, about doing some a new formation from being individual into one identity. It's really, really, I'm investigating it for the last 3 decades and I still know nothing. So it's really, really my love. Now let's talk about the original composition, because I don't know if you know, but myself, I'm also composing music for percussion mostly. And actually, I can even tell you that these days we are performing my ensemble, which is Tremolo Ensemble. we are performing a concerto for 5 percussionists that we are playing with the Israel Symphony Orchestra. Okay, you can translate, sorry.
No, it's okay. I already explained them.
Great, amazing. Okay, so with the Israel Symphony Orchestra, a concerto for 5 percussionists, which is called The History of Aviation. And the reason I'm telling you that is that it's always interesting me that when I have something in my mind and I'm composing music, and then I'm giving the score to a fine conductor, such as, for instance, Maestro Dan Ettinger. I don't know if you know him, but he's an amazing conductor, musical director for Stuttgart Philharmonic, the musical director of Naples Opera House, Tokyo Opera House, a lot of big career. So it's really interesting to see how a person from outside that didn't write the music can look at the score and then think, what does he is figuring out of this music, out of the notes. So that's what we are, I hope we can do together here, Jose and all the gang. It can be really interesting, I think. And of course, it's an exchange of music ideas, nothing more. So let's start, okay? So I was listening to this fine composition, and it's really, really nice, as I said. Actually, I even think about playing it with maybe some of my students also next year. It's really something else. So if I get your permission, it will be my pleasure. And let's start from the beginning. Do you have the score in front of you?
Yes.
Yeah, we have the score.
Perfect, great. So let's start in the beginning. So you have this all of like a chord sus4, which is have diminuendo, and then the first theme on the vibraphone is being presented. You wrote very nicely the phrasing what you want to hear. And I think when we are playing on percussion, we need to be very aware that we are not hitting all the notes at the same strength. What do I mean by that? Especially the last note, because what I can see in your music is padam, padam, tigidakatatatam, tigidakatatatam, padibadabadabadabadam. So each phrase is ending with the B note, right? C. Are you saying ABC or Do Re Mi? Which is better for you? Which system do you use?
Cuando habla de notas, pues. No, you can use ABC. It's okay.
ABC, great. So the phrase that ends with a B all the time, I think it would be very nice if the B will just be laid on the vibraphone. Just put it there. Don't hit it. It will be very nice. Because that's what I understand from your music. When you write this kind of bows, this phrasing bows, it's really nice. And I would like to listen to the music the same. And then we are getting into A. Okay? Letter A. Letter A. I don't know if that's the sound, but I really like, again, the accents that you wrote here. But I couldn't really listen to it or know, okay, they are there. I can know, okay, here is an accent and there is an accent. And I missed that. So that can be really nice, because these accents that you wrote so carefully and nicely, for me as a listener, these are like the spices. Okay? This is the spices. It brings the flavor of the music, the dynamics, or the piano, but also the accent. So it can be really, really nice. The beginning, the vibraphone, and then the marimba 1, that doing these syncopas accent notes. So it gives all different flavor And especially from where you're coming, South America, it's so nice to. It's really, really nice. What do you say? So far, do you agree? You're not agree. As I said,
I was explaining that because we are from South America, we have that typical rhythm flavor.
Yeah, and that's what I think. This is your announce for the world. I mean, there are a lot of great percussionists in Europe. There are a lot of great percussionists in North America. A lot of great percussionists in Asia, but none of them can play with the flavor of Venezuelan percussionists.
Yeah, we totally agree.
Me too. I can tell you, if you allow me, I will tell you a story. Okay? And now I remember a story. Years ago, like, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, I was in Brazil, in Bahia, in Salvador, Bahia. And I was playing there in a very big festival, Mercado Cultural, it was called. And then, day after the concert, I went to the old city, walking around, and then a young student approached me and said, "Hey, I was at your concert. It was really great." And we both drank Coca-Cola because it was really hot and humid. And then he said, "Come with me. I want to introduce you to my teacher." And we went to his teacher's house, and his teacher was very, very old. It was definitely more than 80. And then this gentleman tells me, "Do you want me to teach you some Brazilian grooves?" Wow, I felt like I was winning the lottery at the spot. Like, wow, that's amazing. And then he played like an angel on congas. It was unbelievable, like an angel. And then I tried to play the same. All the time he stopped me and he said, "No. Listen, you don't do it good. You're not good." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm trying." And he kept playing the same over and over again. And for 2 hours, the only thing that I heard is, no, listen. But I couldn't play the flavor that he was so natural with. After 2 hours, he told me, "Okay, can you teach me any kind of groove from Israel?" And then I played for him some Mediterranean, Middle East groove. And I played. And then he repeated after me. And then all of a sudden I stopped him and I said, "Wait, no. Listen." So we switched the parts. So this encounter taught me that, there is like an accent that now I'm speaking with you English, but I have a nice enough good English. That's it. But I have an Israeli accent, some vocabulary, some luck in vocabulary. But this is me. So each of us have his own flavor, accent, groove in the way he's playing. So bring it out. It's so important, these accents. It's so nice. And as an audience, seriously, I missed it. I wanted to listen to more. That was really nice. And then, okay, let's go back. Let's go on to B. Okay, letter B. Now tell me if I got it right. Again, I felt like in B, we start a new section. Something, and the intervals that you are picking there, the nona and then the triton, it's really sharp and really makes you feel like there is tense in the air. The atmosphere is like a beginning of something is going to happen. just like, have you seen the movie, what was it called? Jaws? Steven Spielberg and John Williams wrote the music, the score. And the famous melody, the theme there, it's only half a note. Bottom, silent. Bottom. And when you hear it, the bottom, you know that something bad is going to happen. You know, you just know, oh my God, here comes the shark and it's my leg or my arm, or God, I don't know what's going to happen. So in B, that's what I felt like. Something is start more quietly, and then the vibraphone slightly start one, to-do, to-do,
lentamente empieza a hacer.
to-do, 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 to-do. It's getting there. And then with these triplets, when the triplets are repeating each time over and over again, it's really, again, it's because you chose the same half notes phrase. Half notes always gives us, human beings, something with our ears. It brings us association with stress. Something is like a drama. There is a drama. And especially because you repeat it several times, which is great. When I see a composer repeats a short phrase over and over again, I know I need to pay attention and to treat it, to do something with it. So sometimes I will do, if I have 3 times the same phrase, and even if the composer doesn't write me anything, I will do something like patita-tatum, patita-tatum, patita-tatum. Okay, something more that it won't be the same thing over and over again. Something to do with it, something like that. Okay, and that's what I thought about B. I hope it can bring you some ideas, some new approach. Again, you can dismiss it, you can ignore it, you do whatever you want with it. Sorry, seriously, all my students know me. I'm always saying, okay, I'm trying to convince you. You decide. You can pick it up. You can throw it. Okay, so we are moving to C, 57. Okay, to part C. So until here, we had a lot of information. In C, I see something which is very lyrical, like waves. All of a sudden, there is clear skies. Really, although each of these, you have small staccato, but be careful not to make it as an accent.
No lo tomes como un acento. Ten cuidado.
Yeah, so to padibadabadam, 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 padabadabam, padabadabadam. So something really like waves in the, I don't know, small waves in the lake, or something which is very calming. When we are performing to audiences, when we are presenting music, we are telling a story. So a story needs to be always interesting, and if we are talking at the same level, the same intensity, the same drama, or the same coolness, it's becoming not boring, but not interesting enough. And I think in this composition, we have a lot of materials to make it not good, but fascinating. Like people will actually sit on the edge of the chair like that. Want to listen? Okay, what's next? Tell me more. What do you want to tell me? What's happened now? It's like a good story. It has to be a good story. So think about the first until 62, very lyrical, very wavy, And then all of a sudden, 63, extreme sharp. Chaka, 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 chaka. Like really sharp knives. And then again, 69 is it? Yeah, 69 again, very lyrical. So we can be able to show the audience these contrasts between the knife and the long and very fragile and melodic and lyrical lines. It's really something that I think it can be extremely nice. And then again, the sharpness, these extreme sharp notes goes back to in D. Okay?
Y luego en D las notas vuelven a ser como incisivas.
Shall we go on? Do you have any questions or something you want to tell me? What do you have in mind? What kind of thing? I'm really curious to hear also your perspective.
Quería escuchar su perspectiva de repente de lo que si quieren decir algo.
O sea, yo estoy creo que estamos como prestando la atención.
Like specific questions, we don't have any. We're just like being like following the rhythm with your wisdom.
Okay. Okay. So shall we go on?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So 81. Bar 81. Piano possible. Let's do as you wrote. Piano possible. Very. And again, this so smart.
Piano posible, hágalo más piano
The way you write the accents, not on the obvious part, in the obvious places, but very nicely. It can be really nice. 81. And I'm hearing in the 7/8 bar 83. I hear maybe even a ritenuto. So if I'll try to sing it from 81, it will be something like and again, like something to breathe and that you will show also that you can play with your music and not only play your music, but play with the music, not only play it. There is a big difference between playing with music and playing music. So, and then that can be something to think about again, okay? And then I think the crescendo, there is sort of a crescendo or it's a zura cut that need to be done in 98. And in 99, who is playing marimba too? Sorry.
¿Quién está tocando marimba? She.
What is your name?
¿Cuál es tu nombre? Naibet.
I can't hear. Sorry.
Her name is Naibeth.
Naibeth. Okay. So, Naibeth, if you can play this, take time. You have 2 quarters. 2 quarters break, but the audience doesn't know that you have 2 quarters. I mean, if we are playing the last notes of 98, sorry. So taka 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 taka. Pa 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 pa. And go on. And it's something that we need to understand. Also, the audience, when we are listening, the audience needs some space when we are music, especially when it's new materials. If it's, Mozart number 40 or whatever, so everyone knows it. Oh, okay. Yes. So that can be really nice. And then the reprise in E, right? It's like, wait, yeah, reprise. Okay. Again, be careful not to strike the last note. To make this phrasing. It's really, 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 really nice. And just like I said before, I'm jumping now to which bar is it? One before F.
Y uno antes de F.
One before F. Do you agree that we can do like a small fermata?
Sí, ¿están de acuerdo en que podrían ahí hacer una pequeña fermata?
Or you don't like it? What do you say, Jose? You like it or not?
Les pregunto si les
I thought about taka 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 padam padam. Need something like
gusta.
Claro, en general, obviamente que tiene sentido tanto eso como lo que él dijo de la marimba 2 antes de, pero obvio que, o sea, como que no está llenando la idea principal, o sea, en todo caso la idea es que la obra pase, no desapercibida, pero sí que sea una tormenta de repente, ¿sabes? Es como muy, puede pensar así, como muy rústica en ese sentido.
Okay, so Jose agrees with the fermata, and he also agrees with the thinking of the marimba 2 before about the break.
amazing.
And he as well. But he also tells that the intention of the piece is not that it goes out by a glimpse, but it kind of feels like a storm. Like it's a little bit like fast paced. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're managing to do that. Absolutely. But sometimes even to make a storm, it felt when I looked at it, it was like you feel like you are dragging right into it, and that's great. That's great. The intensity of your playing, the amazing technique, you see that all three of you are in the zone. You are in the zone when you are playing, and that's always a good thing. So it brings out the feeling of a storm. Absolutely. But even if in a storm, we need like the quiet before the storm or something like in the middle there is something is getting quieter in order to make it louder again. We need something, we need a drama. Okay. Now let's continue to F. F.
Timer, just to give you a heads up, we are running out of time a little bit. So
how long do we have, Tim?
Technically like 2 more minutes, but
sure.
If you want to overrun the session a little, that's cool. So whenever you feel, that's fine.
Okay, so let's go fast. F. Look at F. I would suggest you at F. The phrase starts the vibraphone, and then the 16 notes are like continuing to the second marimba. That can be really nice. So, Jose, if you're playing the vibraphone from F, so it will be like, I'm suggesting like something like that. 1, 2, padam, padam, padagadagadagadagadam, padam, padam, padagadagadagadagadam. Like some of the notes hide it in order to make the second marimba out. This is something fascinating in chamber music, that you don't have to play all the notes all the time on the same level. So you can play with the different colors of your ensemble. Then the vibraphone will be in the background and the marimba will be in front, and then you can play with it, and it will be very interesting to the depth of the music. Okay, I'm jumping again, new material, 3 bars after G, the tremolo of marimba 1. I think we need to give it space. So all the vibraphone and the marimba 2 should give space to the marimba, because this is the first time that the audience hears this piece, a tremolo. So it's very nice to hear. It's all of a sudden something like low brass entering. Okay. Yeah. H was really nice, groovy, really, really, really nice. I really liked it. Again, 1 before I. Small fermata. Give me as an audience a short time to breathe in between sections. It's very
Una
important.
fermata pequeñita para respirar entre secciones. Lo que recomiendo.
Very important, yeah. And then in I,
En-
have you thought about instead of dead strokes to play with the shaft with the shaft of the mallet on the keyboard?
con el cuerpo de la marimba en el
Ok.
cuerpo de la baqueta, de la marimba.
It
También
could be-
hacer los dextros.
It's worth a shot. I would try it because it's all of a sudden again new color and it's very groovy. That chaka 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 chaka. It makes you feel like moving and dancing a bit. So it's
Es
really
como
nice.
es más bailable esta sección. Así que,
And 3 bars before J,
luego 3 antes de J,
because it's a groovy section,
una sección muy rítmica.
I think you can add some accents there. I know it's not written, but some accents like
Pero podría
something like that. It's again something that can be added and make it even more fascinating than what you're playing. It's really, really, really nice. Jay was extremely nice, very convincing. It was really nice. It was really impressive, Jay. Really great. And the last thing, I think the last thing I have to suggest you, again, it's all suggestions, seriously. K, again, Marimba 2. I think you need to think about it as a drum set player.
como un drum set, como se ve la de batería.
You are not a marimbist. You have the 2 low notes, which is the F, are like a bass drum, and the high F is like a snare.
Como el snare, o sea, el doblón.
So it will be tum 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 ka tum 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 ka tum 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 ka tum tum ka. Again, this storm way of thinking, as you said, and something that is all the time has its own dynamic and it's moving forward and forward and forward. That can be amazing, really amazing. Other than that, I think we need to finish, but as I said, I have the score and I want to play it.
Okay.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Really nice. Really, really, really nice.
All right.
And, if you want, I'll be more than happy if one of the things, even one of the things that I discussed with you convinced you and you are re-recording it, I'll be more than happy to listen what you've done with it. I'm really curious.
De repente lo vuelven a grabar y tomar en consideración cosas que él dijo, más feliz de esa grabación.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bravo
All right.
to all of you. It's really amazing. Really a great job.
Good job, guys. Well done. Have a good concert. Adios.
You have a concert?
En un montón de tiempo.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 may have a concert.
Nice.
Nice one, guys. All right, let's move on to Graham.
Hello.
Hello. So, Graham, just whilst I cue this up, what timestamp do you want on this one?
Why don't you start right at 8 minutes?
Okay.
Or a
All
little
right.
after.
Is in the score, where is it around so I can follow it?
Oh, yes. That'll be about measure 140.
Sure. Okay.
Somewhere on page 11, depending on right where it
Yeah.
starts, I believe.
Okay. I'll catch it.
Okay. And do you want to tell Tomer a little bit about yourself as well?
Sure. Yeah, I'm from Texas in the United States. I just graduated from the University of North Texas, actually, and I'm headed to start my master's at the Frost School of Music in Miami. And for particular, this is going to be Glenn Cochi's Monkey Chant. And I really like this piece because I've played some gamelan and studied gamelan, and this is sort of Glenn Cochi's multi-percussion sort of interpretation of some Balinese music art forms, which the monkey chant is called the Kechak in Balinese. And so when I first saw it, I was captivated just by like the drumming and the percussionness of it. And then when I learned more about the story behind the piece, I just became even more curious and kind of wanted to make the best version of it I could.
Amazing. So how did you know about the piece? Where did you found it?
There was another person in the studio that played it a few years ago, and so I saw their performance in a recording. And then it's a fairly popular one, I think. So there's lots of recordings on YouTube and stuff. So I sort of dove into that. And then what also had me curious about it is you've probably noticed that the score does not quite have everything that I'm doing. And in Glenn Cochi, he has 3 or 4 like publicly available recordings of it. And each one is very different. Like one of them is only 10 minutes long. One of them is almost 20 minutes long. And so it just made me feel a little more freedom to kind of and do my own interpretation with it and come up with my own sort of additions and or like variations on it.
Absolutely. It's amazing what you're saying, because I think especially musicians in general, but especially us percussionists, it's so important to dare on stage to also improvise in any sort of way. It doesn't have to be in the jazz way of changes of any standard or whatever, but also that it brings out our art to a whole different level, instead of just taking written notes and bring life into it. So the opportunity that we have from certain composers to also go on stage and improvise or to be part of the composing process, it's amazing. I love this kind of pieces. I really love it. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's look at it. Let's watch it. Okay, that's an experience to watch. It's not only music, and I think this kind of music, it's part of the reason why people are still coming to the concert halls, to experience something bigger than to put music in their nice speakers at home, but to go on a music venue, concert hall, whatever, and to experience something. So obviously, Graham, it would be amazing if you can explain something about this piece and the process that you experienced, even from choosing the right instruments, all the accessories, the sound, the working with the other percussionists that doing all these ambience sounds. Tell us a bit about this process. I'm curious.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And that's kind of what I was hoping to create with this performance of this, was like more of an experience, less about, you know, just sit in the concert hall and watch the stage, but more about something that would sort of envelop you as an audience member. And I will say my first performance of Monkey Chant was just that. It was like me on stage, no video, no extra people or anything like that. I kind of played the piece, and that was probably, I think that was maybe 9 months to a year before this performance. And I did it, and it went pretty well, and I like enjoyed the process. But I always felt like there was just more to explore with the piece, and everybody always comes up afterwards and looks at the like prepared snare drum with the springs and wires and everything. And you know, every time I play it, somebody comes up and is like, "Oh, have you thought about, you know, adding this sort of Chinese symbol, or like this, like adding, you know?" And then so I get so many ideas just from other people, and then that makes me feel encouraged just to explore as much as I can. Like I remember I used to play it with just normal like 14-inch hi-hats, and then amongst, you know, playing with all the splash cymbals and small Chinese cymbals, I decided, oh, I can, you know, put like a China cymbal and a splash cymbal stack on the hi-hat. It makes a little bit more creative sound. And that's one of the things I think that this piece really lends itself to, is just coming up with as unique a sound world as you can get. And you know, it's partly designed in that microphone with the contact microphones and like the fruit basket and the wires and everything. And so I just, over the course of working on the piece for a pretty long time, I just kind of kept exploring. And I still feel like if I were to play it again, I would try to bring in new sounds and get creative with it. And the aspect of adding other players to the piece, like this was actually the finale of a recital, like my senior recital that I gave. And so there was some other works that I did earlier in the program. I did some John and Luther Adams and some other stuff that was, we did it like with surrounding musicians surrounding the audience. The room was really great, and then it was just like a flat stage that you could do that. And so since I already had drums surrounding the audience, one of my professors was actually like, hey, have you thought about kind of adding a little punch to the end of Monkey Chant? Because it's a really long solo. And that's one of the things that I've always struggled with on it, is some people don't like the length, some people think it's great, you know, but just being able to add something new by the like 15th minute of watching it. And as soon as we tried it out with just bass drummers sort of duplicating like the parts that I'm already playing, it just like adds a whole nother dimension to it at the end. And so I really loved it, and that made me kind of do a little bit extra with it too. So hopefully Glenn Kochi doesn't mind that we put that in. But that's kind of how I've developed it. It was a long process, starting with just like playing the piece from the page basically, to listening to a whole bunch of different recordings and feeling encouraged to expand out and see what I could create.
Amazing. Sorry, do you hear my dog?
A little bit.
A little bit.
It's no problem though.
All of a sudden, she decided that she's guarding the house, and it's like this big. And I know what's going on. So sorry for that. Okay, and can you tell again to the one who joined us about the story behind the piece, the concept, because there is like a scenario that it's like a storytelling.
Yeah, so the way Glenn Kochi composed it is the music of it, like the main theme, the cha 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 chaka chaka da chaka da chaka da chaka da, that comes straight from a Balinese, like a kind of art form, performance art that happens on the island of Bali, Indonesia, and it's called the Monkey Chant. And so that's where it's like a speaking. It goes on like for an hour, but it's a whole group of people that are chanting these like rhythmic syllables and things like that. And so it lends itself really well to just fitting around the drums with like Swiss triplet style, that sort of thing. And then, so I guess Glenn Kochi was inspired by like listening to recordings of that or something. And then he decided he wanted to write a piece and experiment with it. And the story of the piece is the monkey army battle from the Ramayana epic. And so if you like through the score, there's different moments that's like Ravana tells Human that the battle has been lost, aggressive exchange between the monkey army and the invisible Indriji. So there's different like narrative elements that I don't think really actually, you know, it's not like storytelling as in this could be any sort of battles type story, but it's inspiring to like shape the form of the piece and that sort of thing. And that the video that it goes with the piece that Glenn Kochi actually, I don't know where in the process the video came, whether like Glenn Kochi composed for the video or the video was written afterwards or that sort of thing. But I've seen him perform it with it before, and it kind of adds characters to the story, I suppose, that you can kind of mirror with the musical actions.
Absolutely. I can tell you that I watched the video twice and a half with these 8 minutes that we all see now. And every time I saw it, I had another ideas about this piece. I'm sure that this kind of piece is something that you can play dozens of times. And even if you're doing it in gaps in between the different performances, you can come up with so many ideas, whether they are musical ideas or as a production, like a real production for this piece. At one time, I can share with you that I saw that maybe you can use different masks, like really putting on your faces, like that it will be much more mysterious, and that they will not see Graham that plays it and performed it, but something which is more spooky or something that is more, again, storytelling. I saw sometimes the percussionist that you used, which is brilliant idea, not in a steady position, but walking around, sometimes behind you, sometimes joining you, like if we're talking about an army. So sometimes joining you on the same setup and doing stuff with you, and then moving apart to different places in the venue. You can do so many things with imagination and understanding of this, the essence of this piece. It can be really, really fascinating to deal with it over and over again. And it's basically endless. It's endless. It's kind of pieces. And if we are going back to the specific performance that we saw, I think that we need to be in this kind of a performance to really to make the audience convinced that we are moving a process in our soul as performers. There are several times that I can see, I'm sure that you will know, you will understand what I mean. We've all been in different kind of concerts, whether it's a rock concert, jazz concert, classical concert, and there are some artists on stage that you believe them, and some that you don't. You just don't believe them. You know, okay, they are doing a good job. And it's very hard for us percussionists, to make people to believe us, because first of all, you know, we cannot, for instance, playing the marimba or even a set like you're playing, it's very hard to play it with our eyes closed, for instance, just for one example. But if you are imagining, as you said, it's not like the audience really understand, now it's the battle, now they are surrendered, now, of course, they cannot understand it. But if they understand that you are experiencing in your soul a process, they will believe you. Like really in a battle, so be vicious and angry and brave, and whatever a battle requires from a soldier of whether it's a monkey army or human being, doesn't matter, but really be into it, like, I don't know, even in your mimics. Like
I
really
see, yeah.
Convince us. It can be, because then I can share with you that today I had a concert, chamber music concert, recital for percussion ensemble, and we had a host, a guest. Sorry, we had a guest who was a violinist, and we played like different, like a suite that we put up from a Piazzolla repertoire. Okay, and at one time we were, Piazzolla is very passionate, and sometimes it's very on the edge of barbaric music, like very almost violent. And 1 minute later, it's so loving and so warm and so full of passion that you need to present it. And we really worked on that. And the audience, we felt it. They were with us. They were with us, absolutely. And I think that when we are, so the scary part of this thing is not to look artificial on stage. But it's a matter, you know what? I can tell you that it's a matter of practicing. Just like practicing A major or Merlin or whatever, it's practicing. It's how I'm letting myself really, okay, I know the music, I know the structure, I know the dynamics, I know what I want to do. Okay, now how do I tell the story? How do I do it? And how do I feel it that when I'm on the stage, I'm in the zone. And when you are in the zone, the audience goes with you. You are their leader, 100%. And this composition, I think, needs it. So, for instance, I missed several places that it will be like an explosion of sound and energy. It stopped somewhere. It didn't get to the peaks that I expected it to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I think you can just let go. Play the drums. So whether it's the 16 notes, the sextuplets, like much more, like you are into it.
Mm-hmm.
You're into it. And then in the end of these crashes, so show me, like, like, I'm here. And then this delicate glockenspiel, and you're playing their kalimba, or what is it? I didn't see.
Yeah, kalimba.
Kalimba, and then you are the most fragile and loving person in the world. So this contrast will bring us as an audience to want to come to the next show, even if it's in 24 hours from the difference time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really something that I think you can look at the video and think, okay, here I could do it differently, much more musical, much more louder, much more softer. I could be more in the zone. And now I'm starting to repeat myself. I think you got it.
Yeah, no, just to explode out a little bit more than I did.
Absolutely. And explore the venue you're performing it. You do it. You did it. I think you can do it even more.
Mm-hmm. I hadn't thought of trying to like choreograph the other people or that sort of thing too. So that.
Yeah, because you saw, I don't know if it was in that video or the first one you sent, Tim, but when the other percussionists are playing, so the audience are looking in front at you, and then they hear there are different sounds, so they are like watching what's going on. They are exploring. People want it. Our audiences, they want it. They want to feel something. Not okay, concert. Yeah, I'm sitting here. The artist is there. I'm looking at him. I'm clapping my hands and saying, "Okay, thank you. That was a very good concert." No, we need to make them feel like every time they are going to a percussion concert, let's stay with percussion concert, that it will be fascinating, that it will be an experience that we as performers and they as audiences are experiencing together. Then people are. That's why I think people are going more and more to percussion concerts, because it brings something else than violin recital or string quartet or whatever.
Yeah, there's so much new things being explored, I feel like, with us. And then Like, and there's no like standard that we're stuck in.
Absolutely. And it's all the time being reinvented and getting much more sophisticated, and we also understand much more. I think to all of you that you are watching now, I think being a percussionist in the 21st century is it's a privilege, but it's also a task, because these are the days, the years that the conventional repertoire is being written, and in 100 years, 200 years, people will look at the beginning of the 20th century, the 21st century, and see, okay, so that was the Bach of percussion. That's where it all began. Like, Bach was the first for piano. Okay, let's see what he wrote. Oh, he was okay. Yeah, he did well. He did well. Now, what is our legacy? And it's up to us, and with the collaboration with composers, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And,
Yeah.
it feels like so much is happening right now.
Totally agree. But amazing job, Graham, and I promise you that I'm going to watch it again tomorrow.
Well, thanks so much for
really,
spending so much time on it.
It makes me think.
I'm glad that it has that effect, and I'm glad that you appreciate like the experience it created, because that was one of the my goals, because I had played the piece before, but I wanted to do something new with it and create something more, and so I'm glad that came across. And now it's just about doing it again in more ways, I guess.
So you absolutely did it. Absolutely. Amazing job, really.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice one, Graham. All right, we're going to say goodbye to Texas. You are in Texas right now, I'm taking it.
Actually, right today I'm in Utah, but be in Texas, back in Texas soon.
Looks sunny where you are. So
it is. It's sunny, but not too hot, which is good. So.
Yeah, nice. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move over now to Dagfinn, I believe. So we're going to go to Norway.
Hello.
Hello, buddy.
Hey. Hi, Dagfinn.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm a master student at the Norwegian Academy of Music in Oslo, and I'm presenting now this piece, Neon Tree by Pius Cheng.
Mm-hmm.
And the score I have is it's not the original. The one he had, he also writes like a optional cut, and I just made that into 1 or 2 pages so I can have a mini score of it. And he also writes it's totally fine to suddenly if you want to play this bar 7 times instead of 1 time, you can do that. Like, you can have some freedom with it. And I simplified some rhythms, and then I kind of take it like a guideline when I play it, and I kind of suddenly if I feel like right now this performance I want to have more of this groove. It's just nice. So and it's a bit shame to watch this as a video, because playing
always
playing like this playing this is original for bass drum, but I play it on the taiko. He also says you can play it on any drum you want.
Mm-hmm.
But the setting of hearing it as a video, you cannot really feel all the big vibrations in the room or where you would normally play this. And I think this is also a big essential part of this piece.
Totally agree. Yeah. Tell me, did you ever had a chance to see live concert of one of the Japanese groups, Kodo, on the Koza?
No, I've been to Japan twice, but there wasn't any taiko performance when I was there. But I went there for studying percussion, Japanese music. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Amazing. So I saw several times, and actually 6 weeks ago, I was with Tremolo Ensemble. It is my group, one of the things that I'm doing the last few years. And we were in the TIPC in Taipei, in Taiwan. Very big festival. Have you heard of it?
I heard of it.
Very big and very powerful festival. Really, I admire these guys, the Jew Percussion group. And one of the groups that was there was on the Koza. That actually was the first time since the Corona COVID-19 pandemic that they performed outside of Taiwan, of Japan, sorry, and came to Taiwan. And every time I see them, I saw like 3 or 4 concerts in my life. It's amazing that you're playing totally with everything you've got. And when you think you finish with it, you have more energy and more powerful and more power and more strength. It's unbelievable, these guys. They have so much energy and it's endless, and it's really breathtaking to see this experience. Exactly like you said, you need to see it not from a video, but on a live venue, to hear the basses of these drums and to hear and to look at the movement of the percussionists, the musicians, and also I think this is part of the experience to see the sweat that they are sweating. It's part of it, and they are in obviously great shape. So it's really, really nice. But let's see your video, and then let's discuss it together and think together what we can do. Okay. Are you having fun playing this piece?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
but it's very, very physical demanding to play this high up and yeah, with all the intensity.
And actually, we need to take care of our muscles, because it's really something that it's a technique that we are not used to. So you need to really be careful before and after playing with these kind of pieces, like a lot of stretching exercises and to be extremely warm, do like a nice warm-ups before playing this piece, because then you can really harm yourself, and we don't want that. So so that's really great. Okay, so let's think. First of all, I think especially if you've been in Japan, and I actually envy you because I've never been there, and it's a very big dream I have. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be in more than 60 different countries in the world and performing and stuff like that. But Japan, somehow, I miss it, and it's really something that I really want to achieve. It's really one of my goals and dreams. But if you've been there, I wonder if you will agree with me that I think their music always has something to do in any kind of relationship between sound and space. Okay, the sound and the space. So they give respect also to space. It's not always playing, but space, quiet, the old this definition of time. It's different from the Western world, obviously.
Yeah, they have a word for it. It's called ma. It's
Okay.
when there's a rest ma, it's then it's as important as playing a note. So it's like if it's silence, it should be silence.
Amazing. Okay, so let's talk. So let's start with that. Okay, beginning. I think the quarter note, the very first note in the piece is quarter note, and then 260 notes. So if I'm counting it out loud, it will be like 1 enda, 2 enda, right? Something like that. Tak, pa, pa. And you are taking the quarter a bit shorter than it used to be, than it should be. Okay, I think you can take the time, or even, if anything, I would do it even longer, because that's the really first tak. And then you're like announcing, okay, dear audience, we are in Japan. I hope you understand it. And then you continue, because the very first strike you are hitting the drum tells everyone we are in Japan. That's the story here. Here is Japanese way of drumming, especially when you chose not to use the Grand Casa, but to use a Japanese drum. It's very wise, and it's, again, enlarging the experience. It's really nice. So I would do it even more. And since you added this nice shout at the end, right? So maybe also to start with it, and then like telling the like we are closing, shout at the beginning and shout at the end. Like start something with, I'm getting away from the mics, but something like really, from the guts here, like really something like, like it's from here. The way they shout, it's so convincing. It's so, you feel like, okay, they mean it. It's part. It's, again, this is the music. It's part of their folklore. And if we are shouting, it has to be like there. Okay. Now, so, and then the second bar is like an echo of the first one. It's like shouting into a big cave. Bah! Okay, so if I will go into a cave and shout, that thing. So it will be something like that, like really like a nice natural diminuendo. So the first bar is like I'm here, and then the universe returns like a fading answer. Okay. Now tell me the third bar, which is 5 quarters. why have you decided on the specific sticking you are using? Because from what I understand from Pius, he's writing like the first stem is up and then 4 stems down. So I felt like it's supposed to be like right, left, 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 right, left. Something more round the movement of the right hand or the left hand, and the other hand doing more short movement. So it's one hand is doing something like that, and the other one is doing something like that. But you decided it's again it's an interpretation. I have no idea if that's true. It's again this kind of conversation we are having now.
Yeah, well, I wasn't exactly sure. I thought like, okay, maybe it's written because the one voice is supposed to be forte and the other is pianissimo, and then it's this is just like me trying to experiment with some choreography.
Okay.
And then I thought, okay, but I can play it, and then the other hand. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So something because when you see these guys performing, and again, if you were there and studying it, it's any kind of phrase. It involves also a certain way of choreographing. There is choreography there. It's part of it. So think of it when you are playing that. What else I wanted to discuss with you? For instance, these waves that we're experiencing in bar 20 to 21 to 22. Okay, so it has to be very slowly. One thing is leading to the other, the next thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to like transform, like morph into the next.
Yeah. So
but do you think it should be very? Now I'm doing it very like morphing, so it's maybe not so clear when I'm at kind of each. But would you?
I totally agree with you. It doesn't have to be very clear when you are moving. It has to be like a metamorphosis of the structure of this short pattern. So the beginning is taga kadaga kadaga kadaga, and slowly it becomes to tagaga 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 tagaga, and then tang tagan 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 taga 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 taga. Just like do you know the I Ching by Per Norgard?
Yes.
Obviously. So all the Fire Over Water, all the cadences that he wrote with Gert Mortensen, so it's all, or the waves that he wrote for Bent Liloff, it's all about that, about this transformation of rhythmic cell that slowly changes into the next, and it's a process that's very fascinating to listen to as an audience. Very nice. So that was very nice. Again, if we are going back to the sound and space concept we discussed at the beginning, 33, look at bar 33, you are shortening the 8-note rest. Fight for the rest. Don't really fight for it. Ta 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 tam, ta tam, pam, ta tam. Look after in the video, you'll see that you are stealing a bit from the, and I think if anything, I would expand the rest.
Okay, yeah.
For sure not shorter it. And especially in a 35, when you have the fermata over a half note rest, it's like, and you have these kind of moves. It's really powerful. I don't remember if it's in that, but take the time, because then it's like you are inhaling from the universe a whole new way of energy, and then okay, it's like tour de force all over again. Very energetic. So take the time. The space gives us energy for the next section. That was really nice. Okay, and then can you please look at bar 56? Bar 56, I think I would be very happy if you will make it more clear again to me as an audience, the development that the figures are requiring. So it begins with tam takatam pam takatam tam pam pam takatam pam takatam pam pam, and then getting shorter tam takatum pam takatum pam 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 takatum pam pam, and then even shorter tam takatum pam takatum pam takatum tam takatum pam. So all this process has to be much more accent. It's getting shorter and shorter, and the intensivity needs to be really out there. Really out there. Okay? You wanted to say something? Sorry, Daphne.
No, I was just agreeing.
Okay. And that brings us to bar 66, when it's the first time that he writes something like heavy. And heavy, it's like, I love these things that composers like Pius, and I love Pius also as a human being and also as a composer and also as a musician, that he writes heavy because he doesn't tell you exactly what it means. It makes you think, what does it mean heavy? Okay, there is a great story that Herbie Hancock once told, that in one of the concerts he had with Miles Davis quintet, he played and he wasn't so good. And he felt it. He said, I didn't, the solos were not good, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And then Miles comes at him to the piano and tells him, just don't play the butter notes. What does it mean? Don't play the butter notes. It's like, it means that go home and think, what does it mean, butter notes? Eventually, Herbie Hancock himself understood that. He felt that Miles meant that if you are playing, for instance, C minor 7, so don't play the E flat and the B flat, because these are the most obvious notes in this chord. But if you are improvising without these notes, so no one really understands where are we in the harmonic perspective. So that's the butter notes. But going back to Pius, so heavy, let's think, how can we make our audience, our viewers, to feel this is more heavy? Ideas? Do you have any ideas?
Well, for me, it's I feel like it's then like starting the like a big engine again. So it's like bam bam with a lot of tension for each, like make it
amazing. Look what you've done now. The quarter notes you've done with 2 hands. In the video, you don't do it. You're doing right, left, right, left, or left, right. I don't know, but it's exactly what I thought about. Just exactly like you. It can be really nice. Okay, the quarter notes, the 8 notes. Sorry, tam tam, and then pa pa. It can be so nice to look at it. Like, this is, for me, this is heavy. This is my interpretation of heavy. Okay, big sound, slower tempo, 2 arms on the dicot drum, hitting it as powerful as I can. That's heavy. I don't know if that's what he meant, but even if he looks at this masterclass, I can tell, what do I care? It's my performance now. I'll do whatever I want. Yeah. You tell me, you think heavy? That's great. Okay? A few years ago, I was a jury. In Israel, we have a very important competition, which is a composing competition by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister prize for composing. And I was in the jury, and we got a lot of scores, like 52 different composers from Israel are applying, and you need to go over all the repertoire and decide who is the winner. And there was one female composer, which was amazing. And she wrote in one of her scores, in a certain point, she wanted that all the ensemble will play really loud, like really loud. So if you're writing 1 forte, okay, you're writing 2 forte, okay, you're writing 6 forte. Again, we've all seen that already. So, okay, but she wanted to bring out of the musicians something more. So, sorry for the language, but it's a perfect quote what she wrote. What she wrote in all the scores, in all the parts, the next sentence: play fucking loud on the score. And that was amazing, because as a performer, you get the score and you look at the music and you say, okay, that's what she wants. I'll show her now. Okay, I'm going to beat the hell out of this note. So she got into our mind, and they did exactly what she wanted. So it kind of correspondence between the composer who sits on the computer at home and us playing on the actual instruments. So if Pius says heavy, we should think, okay, what does it mean, heavy? And the last two things, again, first of all, I think in all this process from bar 70 until the very end, take time. Take your time. Don't rush with the process. For instance, the fortissimo that you have, tagadadam, 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 you came to you started the diminuendo very fast. So, but I think tagadadam, tagadadam, tagadadam.
Yeah.
Stay with it, and then gradually diminishing and fade away, very slowly. And just like the beginning, we discussed about the shout, when you're just before the rim strike, shout, but show us that you mean it. Really show us that you mean it, that it comes from the deepest point of your soul. Like really convinced that it's from here that you are, I don't know, think about something that made you mad in the last couple of years, or a person that you hate, God forbid. I hope you don't hate anyone, but I don't know, something that will come from, what did I say? Like really from the deepest point of your soul. That's the shout, and that will finish this whole tour that you did with us in Japan music through Pius writing, composing. Any questions, ideas?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of like first time I show this like piece to anyone. I haven't worked with it with my teachers or anything, so it's just like me having fun and experimenting.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to experiment like a bit where to hit on the drum, because to make different sounds, but I'm not sure how much it came out.
Yeah. Obviously, again, well, we discussed it before. It's much more powerful, and you feel, and you are aware of the different nuances of the membrana of the skin when you are in the same space as the performer, and not through speakers and across the internet and stuff like that. It's not ideal. I agree. But I think it could be nice if you would two suggestions about shooting this kind of piece. First of all, if you look at the video, you will see that most of the strikes of the hitting on the skin is being covered by your head. You don't see it, and I wanted to see it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I struggle a bit with finding a good camera angle for this because I also tried having it on the side, but
Yeah.
I also felt that was it lost some qualities also, like having it in an angle, like not exactly if I'm here, then the camera would be like on the side, not exactly like
So it's
Yeah.
amazing you're saying it, because that was the second suggestion I wanted to tell you, that maybe it would be very nice to record it from both angles and to edit it a little bit.
yeah,
Because there are
yeah.
strikes that it's very nice to see from your back, and then it's really nice also to see, this kind of movement. It's really impressive to see someone who's playing like that and with the Japanese energy, the Kodo energy.
I was also thinking, even though I am standing out, I could also try to like get more down, so all my hands are above my head
Yeah.
and not in front.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing here, which is comfortable, or still not comfortable to play this high, but to have all my hands up is, yeah, it's very heavy. And I also, well, we also have drums where I can have it in front of me, but I haven't found really any nice choreography where because here I can kind of hide a bit behind you don't have to see me, kind of, you just see I can make flashy moves on the sides and stuff.
Yeah.
But if I have the drum in front of me, I feel like I need to be so much more present, especially since it's just a solo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But for instance, the piano part, I'm sure it's very nice because I saw the sticks hitting the skin, but I couldn't hear anything in a lot of places. But you played it, so again, it's part of recording and videotaping live performance. It's a different experience. But it was really nice, and again, I must say that again, I'm embarrassed to say that I wasn't familiar with this piece, and it really felt like, okay, it's something that I need to work with my students also, because there are a lot of great stuff and exploring process to do with this piece. It's nice.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
It's not too difficult, but it depending like how you do it. Like if you play with like taiko high up, it suddenly becomes much more difficult just because you're not used to using your hands this high up, and suddenly you cannot play as fast or as loud as you maybe want.
Yeah.
So there are things you can do with it. I think it's nice.
So great job, Dagfinn, and thanks for sharing it with us. It's really, really impressive.
Nice one, Dagfinn.
Yay!
All right. And finally, we've got Albin. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
Albin.
Yep.
Nice.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Perfect.
Good to hear.
Perfect. So where are you from, Albin?
I'm from Sweden.
From Sweden?
From Helsingborg.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I'm currently studying in Denmark, though. But I'm originally from Sweden.
Great. In the Royal Academy?
No, in Odense.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's just a bit further in Denmark.
Yeah, I've been in Denmark. I studied the Royal Academy. So I've been a lot of times in Odense.
Oh,
For
nice.
instance, the very nice and impressive concerto Bach to the Future by Per Norgard that the Safi performed. The world premiere was with the Odense Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, it was.
So I remember we were all going there and listening to it, and it was like, what the hell, what's going on? It was amazing piece, and they played like angels, as always.
Yeah, they're good.
And Per was there also, and it was. I have amazing memories from Odense. I think that's where also Hans Christian Andersen house, no? Is in Odense, I think.
I don't know that actually.
Okay, I think so, but
I'm not sure.
Okay, so now you are in Sweden or in Odense?
Right now I'm in Sweden for a bit of summer vacation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty nice.
So tell us a bit about Paganini. piece
Yeah,
you?
sure. It was actually one of my teachers I had now and before, Johan Bridgo, that made this arrangement many years ago actually. And a while back ago, I asked if he could teach me the piece and stuff like this. So we started to work on it, and yeah, but only have the original score.
So how did you study it without the score?
I learned it from my teacher and by
What
ear
is
and stuff.
So without the score?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
Amazing. So all these chords and scales and this.
It's not. It's actually pretty easy to remember. It's just difficult to execute. It's all very like tonal and in the chords.
Changes,
so everything like the fourth variation are just like the triad in it basically.
Mm-hmm. So
With,
there is no. If I want to perform Johan's amazing arrangement, I need him to be next to me and teach me.
Maybe we can do some handwritten stuff or something like this. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to give him a call.
Do that.
Now it's the summer vacation. He has time. He has some
Oh, yeah.
time. He can do it.
A lot of time. Just do.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's watch your
Yeah.
marvelous playing in Paganini. Marvelous. Just
Thank you very
marvelous. Bravo, big bravo. How long have you worked on that?
Ooh, I actually think I started. First time I performed it, I think it was in April last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I practiced on it for like 2 or 3 months by then.
Yeah.
And then I had it and then I practiced on it for a while, and then I laid it off a bit, and then I practiced again on it. I just been back and forth.
Yeah.
For the past year, actually.
Amazing. Okay. So since we don't have the score, because have you seen from the first minute of this session I've did in the WPG?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because what I've done, what I love to do is to get really into the depth of the music and to see all kind of small details and work like that. But it's okay, we don't have the score, but only the original Paganini version for violin. So we'll try to think of it a little bit different from what I did until now. So, Albin, the thing is, when we are playing solo pieces for marimba, especially when they are transcriptions or arrangements of classical repertoire, I'll share with you my approach. And again, as I said to all the other amazing musicians that have been in this session, it's your way to choose whether you take it or leave it away.
Yeah.
I think, I'm sure as a Swedish musician and educated also in Denmark, you've played quite a lot in orchestras. Can I assume that?
Not too much. I've spent most of my life actually playing the drum kit.
Drum kit. And have you ever
playing in
played
band and different
symphony orchestra?
A few times, but not so much. Mostly in amateur orchestras.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Remember what kind of symphony orchestra, symphony repertoire you played with these orchestras?
Amongst other, I played Shostakovich 10th.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
That's great. So what I'm doing when I'm playing a marimba, solo marimba, I'm all the time imagining as if I'm orchestrating it to a symphony orchestra. What do I do in this section? How would I orchestrate that section and stuff like that? And it's amazing how much colors it adds to our performances. Instead of only thinking about piano, forte, crescendo, diminuendo, subito, pianissimo, whatever, to think about the colors of orchestra really changing the way we are playing on the marimba. The most simple example I can give you on top of my head is like think about a certain phrase, and I will ask you to play it as if you are a cellist, and a minute after that, I will ask you to play it as if you are a trumpet player. Everything will be changed. The approach, the way you are hitting the bar, the sound you have in your head, it will sound differently, for sure, 100%. Okay, so let's try and think like that. So if you are looking at the thema, the first theme of Paganini, Caprice 24th, so it's really nice what you've done. Obviously, have you analyzed it harmonically?
Actually, a while ago.
A while ago.
But it's but it's the same chords that go over and over again.
Exactly, and I think it's something that really need to be always in our mind in this kind of variations, because it helps us to think about it's in A minor, obviously, in a melodic minor, and it starts with an A and go to the dominant, back to the A, and then it goes to sort of a 6. Sometimes people are saying that there is this D sharp over an F chord, and some people are saying that this is one of the first examples of blue note in classical music, that it's like this sharp note. It's like a blue note of like jazz music, but actually I disagree with that. I think it's only a German 6 chord. Never mind, we'll not get into the harmonics, something like that. Anyway, it's important because then when you know these changes, that this is A minor and goes to E, and again A minor to E, and then it's D, and then it's F, and then it's G, and whatever, and the relationship in the A melodic minor scale, then you can understand more what Paganini is doing in these chords, in the how does he play with it, whether it's chromatically, whether it's tension notes, and then you can emphasize these notes and do something with it instead of just playing these constantly, I don't know, train of 16s or 6-tuplets or whatever. Okay. So are you in front of the score? You have the score in front of you?
The original. Now I can.
Original, yeah. The original, great. So there is the theme, the first theme, which is as we discussed now. It's really nice. You're doing it really beautifully, really nice. Now variation number 1, okay?
Yeah.
You're playing it pianissimo, piano. You're starting it with a bit more delicate. But if you look at what Paganini writes us, he wants it a bit more like march in a way. Okay.
Okay.
Something more like a lot of staccatos, very hold the music as if we're playing a march. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can play with that, and if it's a march, so you can think about a conductor conducting orchestra. I think maybe a wind orchestra, symphonic band, and not symphony orchestra, and again piccolos, flutes, trumpets, as we discussed before, as we suggested before. So it's really something a bit more staccato and to hold the music.
Okay. Yeah.
And then let's go on with the nice version you played, the second variation. How would you orchestrate it in your mind? Which instruments do you hear it?
Which
hear in your mind when you are playing variation number 2?
Mostly actually when I've been practicing, I've been trying to hear violin in my head and see how a violinist would play it. But I think I've done that with every variation I have actually.
Okay. So if we are again expanding the violin into a symphony orchestra, we have violin, violas, cello, contrabass, clarinet, oboe, fagot, what else there? Horns, trumpets, trombones, tuba, and obviously percussion. Okay, I think I didn't miss anything. But
I feel like the second variation, it's very sharp with how much you play and how fast you play it, and you have this punchiness in all of the notes.
Yeah,
maybe like trumpet something.
Okay, and pay attention to the original that he wants to emphasize the second half of the bar.
I'm trying to do that with the flam I have.
Yeah,
I have a flam with a fourth and third
mallet. So that's great. I think it's very important that because it's part of the variation. What do I mean? If we are looking at variation number 1, as we said, it's very march-like, as Paganini wants originally. So it's on the beat. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
I think I do some. I think in that first variation, I think I do some legato things, a bit more wavy, but I think that's mostly like so hit the right notes. I think
that's right. That's right. You're doing it, and it's nice interpretation. Again, we are, as I told to all the musicians at this session, we are exchanging ideas. There is no one truth in music. It's just a way. And I love it when in the first variation, Paganini asks us to be more heavy on the downbeats of each bar. And on the second, it's the opposite. It's like the negative of that. It's it's the up and not the down. And it gives a different flavor. In addition, of course, to the other, to the different between triplets and 16 notes, to all these amazing ornamentations that you and Johan added. It's beautiful, but the general structure, I think it can be very nice to hear it as if it's on the downbeat and then on the second beat of the bar. Let's go to variation number 3. Again, I'm addressing your imagination. What kind of section or would you play?
This is actually something I don't really feel the violin here because the violin plays octaves here, but I feel something really heavy that I try to mimic with the left hand, and then have all these arpeggio things.
I agree.
A bit like in the background of the melody, like heavy tuba or something like that, maybe in the bass.
At least because if you look at it, Paganini writes us meno mosso, so a bit slower, and then he writes cantanto, like you need to sing it as if it's cantabile, okay? In other words, cantabile, something like it's, although it's instrumental, the music is being played by instrument and not by vocal, but again, in our imagination, Paganini writes us, think of it as a song. So maybe tuba is not the most logical, the first choice I would do for cantabile music, but maybe a section of the cello. That can be nice. I can see them, go like this movement with all their body and the whole bow. It can be really, really nice. And then, in addition to all the arpeggios and the fast notes that you are playing there, again, in a magnificent way, I must say over and over again. But in addition to that, show me that it's exactly the orchestra. One section, cello is playing etc., etc. And on top of that, maybe the piccolo or maybe some other string section, the violin. It's very light and very leggero, very, very light. Okay, so if you will be able to go to the next level, the next step of performance, of achieving two colors of, for instance, variation number 3, 2 different colors, dark equals celli, and bright equals flutes. Just for the example, it can be like the jaws will be like that, like wow. This is something that I've never heard before. That's amazing. This guy has technique, he has imagination, he has different sound, different colors from the marimba. It's the whole package. It's the whole package.
Do you think it can do a lot if I bring down the rest of the arpeggio parts? Just play that a bit quieter, and maybe even have the same dynamic or a bit more in the left hand.
Exactly.
With the melody.
Exactly. And that can be really nice. Really nice and impressive. Okay. Another section I'm skipping because we won't go over each variation, but I'm skipping, for instance, to variation number 8. So this is, I feel like I'm imagining like fat sound. It's like, sorry for my singing, but it's very almost like the amazing orchestration Ravel did for Mussorgsky Pictures at an exhibition. Like when he uses the whole orchestration, it's like, feel like an organ playing in front of you. It's really impressive. So think about fat sound and fat big sound. That's the best description I can give you. That can be really, really impressive. And then after the big fat sound, as we just said, variation number 1, it's almost the opposite. I'm almost attempting to say groovy variations. That's the groovy variation. Okay? So all the plays that you're doing with the shaft and the regular tone, it's remarkable. It's really fantastic. But I miss the groovy part when the violin is playing it. You can really hear that they are taking out the right notes in order that it won't be heard only as a virtuosic phrase, but something is actually happening. So, and when you are choosing which note to emphasize, again, really pay attention and consider the harmony. Which note do I need to, not because, oh, this is comfortable, so I will bring out the D, the E, or the F sharp. No.
I think I just do it like the ones I'm hitting on the bar, I just pick them out. And then on the shaft, I try to play them as quiet as possible. So everything from this big fat sound to this very, very light sound. So I try to play every bar with an upstroke, and then I play on the shaft pretty down in the middle of the shaft almost.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do at least.
And so can you sing for me which accents do you feel like, even the first only the first row?
If I can play it in my head.
Okay, sure.
I think I hear it like if I play with all the notes. I think I hear it. Almost like this a bit.
Like really like a certain pattern. Tact, 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 tact.
Almost like that because that comes once in a while. In a way, very hard to sing.
Yeah, I hear it. I can if you look at the score, and that's the beat. I'll try to sing it what I have in my mind. It's something like and that's also and as I said before, it's something that it's also I'm looking for both ways to complete each other. One way is the groovy, and what can I present something else in this specific variation, but at the same time respect and consider the harmony. So if I'm accenting the do and then the mi and the si and etc. etc., it's helping the audience to understand in which harmony environment we are in.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so really analyze the harmony, and according to that, choose the groove stuff. And obviously, another very nice and logical thing to do is just to try different accents, record 2-3 variations with different accents, and then pick up. You will say, okay, the third take, that was the great. Okay, so which accent did I do? Okay, the first and the fifth and the seventh and the fourth and whatever. Then
So I can do accents even if it's like on the shaft, on the edge of the marimba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about that, I think.
Yeah, that can be really nice. And then if we're, again, variation 8 was fat, big sound. Variation 9 is this pizzicato with groovy stuff. And then we're approaching variation 10, which is much more dolce and lyrical and almost like music from the spheres. It's really, all of a sudden, something else. And again, the color, the sonority. Think about orchestration. It helps so much, and it will bring your virtuosic and amazing performance to the next level of really not being only great marimba player, which you are, obviously you are a magnificent marimba player, but magnificent musician. That's the next level. That like really go for it. And it's something that you need just to think and to say, okay, it's like a work with your abilities and talent. It's something that in a week or 10 days can be achieved. Absolutely, I promise you.
Yeah.
It's something that you can see when you're playing it. It can be achieved in no time, almost no time.
I'm just gonna figure out exactly how I should do it. Sometimes it's hard to imagine how to do the musical thing when you're behind the instrument, I feel like.
Before you're approaching the instrument, just look at the notes and think, okay, what do I want to do here? What do I hear? Okay, yeah, and write all kind of things. And then in the studio, when you're in front of the marimba, practice the ideas you just wrote on the score. And after you feel like, okay, I own the music, I know it, record yourself, and then think, okay, did I convince myself? If not, if yes, great. If not, what do I miss? How can I make it even better? What can I do to convince myself? And if you are being convinced by yourself, then the audience is yours easily.
Yeah.
But it's really a remarkable job, and please send big hug to Johan from me.
I will do that. Yeah.
Really, I admire this guy. He's a great musician.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great job, Albin. Very nice.
Absolutely.
So, Tomer, I didn't know if you got like a couple of minutes just for any last parting questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Quite a few people have had to dash off various places, but anyone, any questions before we let Tomer attend to the dog? What's the dog's name?
The dog's name is Damka, and in Hebrew, Damka is checkers because she's black and white. So my son.
Okay, yeah.
So Damka, I have no idea what's going on with her. She's.
Any questions?
I'll ask.
Yeah, go on, Graham.
Can you this might be a kind of a long question, I guess, but talk about composing a little bit. You know, a lot of us, I just played a gyro last semester as well, and that was really fun. But just, I wonder, you know, how your story began with composing. Like, were you always a composer, or did you come to it later, or what like inspires a lot of your works?
Yeah. So yes, actually, I've been composing. It's not really composing, but ever since I was a teenager, and my teacher, he all the time told me like, okay, next week, prepare the first 30 etudes by Wilcoxon. Here is a xylophone piece for next week, and compose music for one page of for floor and triangle. What? Okay, because he knew I like to compose, so he gave me all kinds of tasks of composing really strange things, like compose. So I specifically remember I composed, as I said, a piece for floor tom and triangle, and then snare drum. And then he said, okay, take one of the famous classical phrases that you know, and write variations on them, just like Paganini, but much worse than Paganini. So that was, what did I take? It was, it was the morning from Pergint Grieg. So I made all kinds of variations for that. And then I had all kinds of ideas, and sometimes some of my compositions are actually exercises for me to develop. I'll give you an example. When I was in Percussion with my partner Adi Morag, so we missed a very good multi-percussion duo composition. We didn't find. We couldn't find anything. And we liked to play, and it was again 96, 97, 98. It was several years ago. And then I said, okay, if there is nothing, I will try to compose. And since my beginning as a musician, as a student, was as a drum set student, and then I went to the percussion scene, and I said, okay, that would be a really nice piece if I can imitate drum set playing, but to stand and to make it like a all-time like interlocking way of composing between the two drummers / percussionists. So that was one exercise I decided to do. Years later, I composed a piece which is called the Ibn Battuta, which is a Moroccan influence, North African influence. And I said, I wonder if I can compose a whole piece based on only one scale without changes, because that's hardest to play, to compose on one scale and not to go to different harmonies. Different harmonies, it's much easier for me. And so that was another exercise I did to myself, including in the middle there is a section of like a drums cadence. So also I kind of studied the music of North Africa, especially Morocco, Algeria, and Libya, and put it into my music, and played with it, obviously. And recently, not recently, but a few years ago, I as a kid, I really loved. That's the third and final example I'll give you. I really loved all kinds of everything that had to do with aviation. I admired aviation. I had books about aircraft and spaceships and everything. And as an adult musician, I decided to if I can imitate or bring the story of aviation through the percussion ensemble. And that was the next. And you can all look at these examples I'm giving you at YouTube. So for the history of aviation, that's the piece. So there are three movements. The first one is hot air balloons, which is dedicated to Montgolfier brothers that did the first hot air balloon that detached from the earth. The second is obviously to the right. The second movement is obviously to the Wright brothers. And the third movement is about modern aviation. So I said, okay, how can I imagine and compose something which will give any kind of atmosphere of hot air balloons? How can I describe the music of the Wright brothers with their attempts to fly the first airplane. How do I do it? And it took me a long time, but it really brought me every time to the next level of being a musician. I understand much more. And now I'm also composing all kinds of compositions. I have much more, but it's all kinds of tasks that I'm giving myself really in order to get deeper into this magnificent kingdom of music. Seriously, that's the purpose.
Yeah, thanks.
Very cool. Anyone else? No.
No, I don't really have a question.
All right.
Great.
Well, Toma, thank you so much for your time tonight. I appreciate it. It's good to see you again. I feel like we know each other, but we've never met. It's kind of weird.
It really is.
Yeah.
We must meet him. It's
One day.
It's becoming ridiculous.
one day we will.
For sure.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to normal life, but thank you so much. Tomorrow, I haven't actually, for the first time, I've dropped the ball on this one. Who have we got tomorrow? Is it Ivana? Yes. Tomorrow, we're joining another great friend of mine, Ivana Bilic. She will be here. Same time, same place. Until then,
Amazing.
take care.